What positively impacted on it is also
I think what I like about here compared to the UK, I find it more beneficial for my mental health because
Living here actually impacted me in a positive way because
Third factor that you could have for your mental health here is
Do you have any ways to cope with it? Any methods?
Since I'm from India, I have a guru, so he has taught me to understand.
And also one thing that's a recommendation that my therapist gave me.
This is my channel, how I can also recharge my batteries.
This will definitely help your emotional health in the long run.
And do you yourself have a personal definition of happiness? What does it mean to be happy for you?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, happiness is
For me, happy it's
Perhaps also you as a psychotherapist can also say some stuff that you learned with your clients. How would you say living in Prague impacts your mental health, and what factors would you say contribute to that?
well, living here actually impacted me in a positive way because I'm a really, I wouldn't say like rebellious, but I'm someone who likes to do basically things that I want, you know. I don't want people to come and just judge me or just interrupt me what I'm doing. I want to do whatever I want. And in certain countries you cannot do that. And for example, in Prague, I think you can do that. If you're gay, for example, you can just like hold your husband or your boyfriend's hand. You can just like walk on the street, nobody will say anything to you. I don't know, if you're a couple, you can kiss like your girlfriend. And I know there are some countries or societies that would just, you know, react to that, but here it's fine.
For me, it's been a positive improvement on my mental health after I moved here. Because there are few reasons. Because one thing I mentioned, it's a calming presence for me where I am from. From my culture, it's a chaotic culture more. Now it's more of a easygoing culture. So I like the cultural change here. What it had a calming presence of my mind on my mind. The other thing is that I was able to establish a better career here, and the work-life balance here is very good compared to where I'm coming from. So this also helped me to get a lot of me time. So I was able to do a lot of things for my mental health and my well-being. But in general, it's not easy to find a English-speaking counselor or psychologist here. And even psychologist is not covered much, by only half the price is covered by your insurance, so you'll have to pay from your own pocket. So these are the, I would say, challenges.
If you think and compare it with living in Argentina, would you say that living here had a more positive or rather negative
A lot
impact on the
positive
mental
because the upsides are a lot more than the downsides. Again, not only because this place is like an absolute beauty, but the stuff that I mentioned before: security, having stability, just being able to just walk on the street and feeling safe, knowing that you're not going to have major economical issues. So being able to have that stable life gives you a peace of mind that's so big that, yeah, it just makes, again, and this is my own experience. I know that people, it's all a matter of every decision has its own cost. We all have to assess on whether we are willing to pay for it or not. I know people that moved from Argentina to Prague, Belgium, Germany, Spain. And yes, they had all these gains as far as economics. You don't have the political issue as big as in Argentina. You don't have the strikes. You don't have security issues. But for them, missing their families was overcoming all that like peace of mind that they were getting by feeling safe on the street, and they ended up going back home.
I think what I like about here compared to the UK, I find it more beneficial for my mental health because there's so many parks. Like in the summer, people like you go out drinking in the park, and it's all different ages, everything, and you can take your dogs and everything. So, and also it doesn't cost a lot of money to do things. So it means that you can have like an active life, taking interest in stuff and being outside of your own head. Oh, goodness me, it's more beneficial, way more beneficial in the UK. Like, I don't know how anyone's still alive in the UK.
You think that is in the UK?
I can only comment on my own experience, so I think the prices are way too high if in the jobs that I would have been in, the prices are just way too high to be able to afford a life, to be able to go out. If, here I don't have that much money, but I can go to restaurants with my friends. I can go see lots of different gigs, and also like I don't have to pay for it's like £100 for one transport card for the whole year. So it's like compared to get a train in the UK to do things, it's just way more expensive. I think, yeah. So here I find more beneficial like that.
I would say that since I moved here, I felt a lot more relaxed and whatsoever. I think that what positively impacted on it is also the work-life balance, because I would say it's at least better than the work-life balance that you can find in Italy. But I would say that here in Prague is kind of easy to adjust. Of course, there are struggles, but there are struggles to move everywhere else, in my opinion. Like, finding an apartment can give you anxiety, of course, or cost of living is also another big topic. But I would say, as I said before, there are so many expats, so it's kind of easy to get connected with other people. It's a struggle to get to know Czechs, but still, you don't necessarily need it, like, to survive. And also, you don't necessarily need to speak the language straight away to, like, just do your thing and just live your daily life. So I would say that overall, Prague has had a positive impact on my mental health, I would say.
How would you say living in Prague impacts your mental health, and what factors would you say contribute to that?
Oh, Prague is a very good place for that. For me personally, it was a good choice coming here because I lived in Berlin before. I was not surrounded by nature that much. I spent most of the time in buildings and on streets, but Prague is luckily surrounded by a brilliant and beautiful nature. And even within the city, you can find a lot of hills and parks. And you don't need to go hours by car or by train. You can just stay in a city and you easily reach great areas. You can even go hiking so easily. You don't even need to have a car. So I think this definitely contributes to that. So for me personally, I enjoy going hiking with friends and spending a lot of time there. Mental health is a topic here, but I think they don't even need to discuss it. It's just into their mindset. This is something what is very special and what I love very much about the Czech society and the people here, because for them it's completely normal to go into the woods and collecting mushrooms. This is another national sport here. It sounds funny, but it's so helpful and healing, I would say. And otherwise they go hiking, they go for a walk, they go for walks, for longer walks. 6-7 hours is nothing for them. Seriously, I'm not kidding. And they also like very much going on a boat. You can take a canoe or the kayak, and it's brilliant for them. So I also know lots of groups organizing these kind of events, and then 20-30 people together, they're going on boats. I mean, this is still something what I love to do, what I just know from Germany, but I think they do a lot for that. But I think it's not that much supported by the health insurance, for instance. So you can find a person, a therapist, if you need some professional support, but for my knowledge, it's not supported that easily by the insurance. So you have to pay for that privately, and who can afford that? I mean, the salary is usually a bit less than the European average. And so you think basically twice if you pay a therapist for that or not.
Mainly for me, it's to be isolated by the fact that I don't speak the language. And on my mental health, for example, there's plenty of time where I was really missing to be in my place, just after work, stop and just say hi to a friend, have a beer with him. And here, again, if you don't speak Czech, it's quite impossible. And that's true that there were some moments where it was really, really hard, where I really get not depressed in a bad way, but really feeling bad because of the fact that I was isolated with the language.
So compared to living in France, you would say it had a little bit of a negative impact on
Yeah,
your mental health.
yeah, compared to living in France. But after I'm talking like a foreigner in France, I will speak French, so it's easy. When you don't speak language, and this is where if you want to move somewhere, you have to somehow to speak the language of the country where you want to start your life. Otherwise, it will be always a pain for you.
Depends on the individual, if you are receiving already therapy or not, even if you're doing some theater, let's say, or some form of art so you can express yourself. Prague would be helpful for you because you can find literally many arts that you can be involved in. We have some centers that they are doing, that they are offering, I believe, even free mental health. So if you have some issues or maybe you came inside COVID and you needed some help, they would help you out. One of them is Prague Integration, I believe. Amanda is running it. Amazing people. If you need sun, don't come. It's a problem. One of the factors could be that you can only rely to the expat communities because you're gonna need time to form a deeper relationship with the Czechs. Another factor could be money. If you don't have, let's say, a high skill level that you can earn money fast, that could be an issue for your mental health. If you don't care and you want to live with 22 people in a flat, sure, you can do that. But let's close this parenthesis. That's one other factor. Third factor that you could have for your mental health here is addiction. Yes. Because of the culture and because of all this beer thingy that the Czechs have, we have a lot of trouble with alcoholism, and so if you have an issue with that, you should be careful. Unless you want to face it, so probably Prague is a very good destination for you. You're gonna find very good beer for only €2, man. Beware. I believe that this is a destination for exploration, let's say as a pit stop, not necessarily something for a long term.
Yeah.
Unless you don't have anywhere else to go, so sure, if you want to become a Czech citizen, 5 years.
Yeah, the first thing to consider is when you move here, you might not know anybody and you might not speak the language, which was the case for me. Although I knew one person, she wasn't exactly, the person that I could go to, and nor she should be. You should always take responsibility for yourself, especially when coming to a new country and a new culture. So the first day you're here, right away, you should start trying to speak the language, start learning the language, start talking to people, and start socializing as soon as possible. This will improve your mental health because humans, we're pack animals. We need to be with other people to be happy. And so if you start doing this right away, you're going to find happiness in the long run.
How would you say living in Prague impacts your mental health, and what factors would you say contribute to that? Perhaps also you as a psychotherapist can also say some stuff that you learned with your clients.
Actually, after talking with almost 40 nationalities as clients, that they came to the office and we had therapy sessions, and they were from different cultures, nations, religions. I could see, and even also it is my view, that one of the most important factors gonna be homesickness. So what is the meaning of being at home?
So you're gonna deal with that when you enter a new country. But this is home. Can I call it home? And how can I deal with that in a long term? Yeah, I also face that, and based on my experience, different other people also. Another factor can be how you are self-confident, how the society and your position can impact your self-confidence. It is another factor. How they can impact your identity as a person, that you bring your culture and background into other countries. So these different variables can contribute to your mental health here. And the system also, in my view, it is not that much progress. That
What do you
I
mean?
mean,
Do
in
you
the
have
meaning of
examples?
support, mental health is not that much supportive. For example, I always faced clients who want to book the time with a psychiatrist, but it can take a long time. There's a long time booking time to visit a psychiatrist. And also, it is not that much easy that people go to psychologists or psychotherapists and insurance cover it. It is not that much progress mental health system for supporting maybe specifically expats. Also, there are something, and it is really growing up also.
And you personally, how would you say living here has impacted you more in a positive or rather negative way compared to living in Iran?
Actually, I can say there's a balance. In my case, it could not impact me that much because so based on my job experience, and it is a long time that I'm working as a therapist. So I could make myself ready to face some more challenges. I can say in my case it could not impact me negatively, but a lot of positive impacts I can say. Specifically when I could start talking with people in another language and even dealing with their problems as a Eastern person, if so to say, dealing with Western problem. So it could impact me much more positive than negative.
And maybe once when you have a not so good day, not so good week, you maybe feel a bit more down, do you have any ways to cope with it? Any methods?
Since I'm from India and we are taught about Upanishads, Advaita, or Buddhism, so we kind of try to understand, or at least I try to understand. I have a guru, so he has taught me to understand when any kind of emotion comes, try to understand why it is, try to understand the cause, and start asking questions why you are feeling that way. Even simple things like what you are doing, this need to be introspected to really understand yourself. So this is the question of Upanishads, like who am I? So I have my own technique that I developed from India to understand why I am feeling, if I am feeling bad, why I am feeling it, if I am feeling angry, why I am feeling it. So trying to understand, it's the first steps of understanding you and understanding your well-being. And this actually helps a lot, these techniques.
So after understanding and you ask yourself these questions, do you also take a step 2 to do action, or is only step 1 enough?
Step one is the first process. Second process is it coming from your body, because sometimes it's your body's need reflected on your mind. Sometimes it's your mind trying to trick you. So either way, you need to understand that this is your mind. Ultimately, it's your mind, and it's mind is not your friend. So try to understand that with your intelligence. Try to understand the mind, and then make it not so serious.
Okay.
The thought not so serious. So let the thoughts be there, but not make it too serious.
Yeah.
Don't treat it as a big thing.
Of course, we all have like some bad days and bad weeks. For example, if I want to clear my head, I would go for like a walk. It's a really like long river, and you can just be near the river almost every spot in Prague. You can pretty much just enjoy the courses because there are like courses and for like different things. If you want to do some like acting, if you're feeling sad, you can just go and take like an improvising course for like acting on stage. I don't know. You can sing, dance, those kind of stuff. I think like hobbies of people, I would say. So these are things that I would probably do to cope.
I really believe in have some specific routine for yourself. For example, I regularly go to gym. I really like that. I go to sauna most of the time. I really like that. I never like quit it. And I love cooking also. Most of the time I cook for myself. I like reading and writing. It is also another habit for me. When the weather is not that much good, I just can go to a cafe and just read, write, maybe meeting some friends. For me, I can deal with that in this way. And I can suggest to you also that make some routine for yourself so the weather cannot impact you that much.
If you are struggling with your mental health or you are simply looking to become a happier person, we, a team of experienced psychologists, created a comprehensive guideline to improve your mental health. You can choose from a list of evidence-based techniques based on cognitive behavioral therapy and tailored to your current level.
If I don't feel at my best, either I stay in, watch a movie, cook myself something nice, or I just go out and meet friends and talk about my problems. But I mean, I don't know, it's not a very specific answer, I would say, but that's what works for me.
But talking about the problems is always a thing that can help. It's a good method instead of keeping it just for yourself.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm in therapy, so I've had therapy now for over 2 years. Embarrassing. Yeah.
Not at all.
So I have that, which definitely has helped. What would I do? Go out to the park. Just go to the park and like. If I'm having a bad day, luckily I have a dog, so it means that even if I'm having a bad day, I have to walk outside. So that helps. The parks help.
Well, yeah, I sing a lot, yeah. So
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
I found my channels how to deal with that. So being creative is a really good thing. So in the past, I was painting a lot. I do photographies. I'm very much into that. I sing either alone or with a group of people in a choir. I play the guitar, so I also get on different ideas and thoughts. But yeah, the biggest part is obviously spending time in the nature. So now I did also an extra training in nature pedagogics, so I can also teach other people now how to deal with that and how to find contact to the nature and the natural surrounding. This is yeah, my channel, how I can also recharge my batteries.
And it's also scientifically proven that being in nature and following a creative hobby are both very good antidepressants.
Always think about how you can become more healthy versus less healthy. So if something sounds like a good time in the short run, it might give you happiness right now. It's probably a bad decision. For example, going to a nightclub and getting drunk is fun in the moment, but it's not going to be in the long run, especially tomorrow. So what I recommend for mental health especially is get into a gym and start working out. Resistance training is one of the healthiest things you could do, not just for your body and the way you look, but also for the brain. Definitely eat healthy, always stay nutritionally balanced. You always need to eat healthy foods, go organic. Try to avoid restaurants and fast food unless the restaurant is healthy. Drink healthy things, avoid alcohol. This will definitely help your emotional health in the long run.
Therapy is going to be always my first question, because again, there is only there is something called like I think it's called like the emigration grief. First tip, understand that happens to everyone. There is no standard duration of that grief. It can be a week, it can be a month, it can be 6 months. But if eventually you find yourself in like that place where you cannot really see the light, of course, like try to seek for help. Find therapy, great source. And also one thing, that's a recommendation that my therapist gave me, it's very important how often you go back home, like especially in cases like me where it's like a 14,000 kilometer flight. I think that the recommendation is not to go back home after like at least wait 1 year before you go back, because again, if not, you're kind of like triggering that thing of like missing home. So wait a year, and when you go back, try not to go there for like 3 months. Find like your best trip duration.
And do you have a personal definition of happiness? What it means to be happy for you?
Oh, be yourself.
Happiness in contemporary sense, I don't believe. It's just excitation of mind.
Yeah.
But it's love, actually. You can call love, freedom, all these are the same thing.
Yeah.
To be happy, well, I would say like being free, being able to do and knowing that you're not really judged or nobody's gonna come and say shit to you.
For me, happiness is never found through somebody else or even where you live. You can live anywhere you want, as beautiful as Prague is. If that's not going to make you happy, other people will not make you happy. You have to make yourself happy. So everything you do, you have to take responsibility for and just keep making yourself happy every single day.
For me, happy it's if sun is rising every day, that's already make my life happy.
So in winter, then it's a little bit of a toll because not always sun here. Now the weather is
It's
good.
still, but I will still say that life is wonderful because I know that there will be another day. So
To be happy means, in my view, when you can think freely, it is happiness. It can make me happy. When I can think the way I like, I can write the way I like, and I can read something that I like. And I make a decision for that. In my view, it is happiness.
Just follow your own strength, follow your own intuition, and yeah, your inner voice. What makes you, yeah, having a good time. I think if you focus on those positive aspects, if you have a lot of fun in any activity, why not following it, and why not trying to be professional in that, making that your job.
So I try not to eternalize a concept like happiness. I try to focus on the moment, on being right here, right now, connecting with my feelings. Because of course, yeah, if you ask me the question, are you happy? Yeah, sure. In that happiness, I acknowledge that there is people that's no longer with me that I would love for them to be with me, or situations that I wish they wouldn't have gone a certain way. So for me, happiness, it's just about the right here, right now.
That's an interesting question. I would say that being happy doesn't necessarily being super successful, for example, in career or in dating life. I think that being happy me equals to being resilient and able to face with daily struggles in a not relaxed way, but in a realistic way. Like, let's say if you want to summarize it, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. Like, or just to make an example, I don't necessarily enjoy sharing the apartment with 5 people because it can be a lot. But at the same time, I want to try to look at the positive side of it because I know that there are people that are nice and they kind of care about me and I care about them, and that's okay. I probably would say that being realistic about your daily life and not putting yourself very high expectation helps a lot, in my opinion.
So what you experience is also a bit mindfulness is getting also more popular in the Western world. So what was your take on this?
Yes, the spiritual industry, I said industry purposefully because spirituality is not an industry. And what I find in West is spiritual industry. For example, yoga here, it's mainly an industry. People treat it as an exercise. There is like different kind of yoga, like hot yogas, hatha yoga. I don't know what kind of yogas are here. All are like made to mint money and does not adhere to its principles, I would say. Yoga means yog. It's the joining of mind and body together. It's a spiritual pursuit. It's never exercise. It's never for the body. Yes, there is an exercise component in it because if you need to be spiritual, you need to have a healthy body. So that's the half the part is exercises, but there's a lot more to yoga, and it's mental, calming your mind and trying to actually pursue, try to understand yourself is the goal of yoga. So in that aspect, I would say spirituality here is still very much commercialized. It's not the actual spirituality that should experience. But and that it's not just to the unique to the Western world. Even the places where this originated in India, spirituality is now a lot commercialized. And if you go to find a guru, 9 out of 10 times you will find the guy who will try to take money from out of you, not the one who will help you to find yourself.